Get Larry is that, well, the public itself is hardly panting for the outcome of this fight, that a lot of people who are in boxing think it's an excellent fight, and that whoever wins will be recognized by everyone as the second best heavyweight in the world. Will you recognize him?
Yes, you have to kind of recognize whoever wins. Reason why they don't really recognize Mike Weaver because he only fought twice in 2 years that he held the title. Mike Weaver's an inactive champion, and he should get out and fight more. And this could be a factor tonight. If he didn't demonstrate his boxing skills earlier, he might have been able to be the favorite coming into this fight.
Thanks, Larry, and now back to Barry.
Okay, thank you, Larry and Larry, and now it's Barry and Ray, and we're going to talk about what's going on in the ring. And I think perhaps, Ray, the biggest question of this fight is Mike Weaver's ability to come back after having only really one fight in 25 months, a very difficult thing.
Well, as I always say, Barry, inactivity is a factor always, but with a guy like Mike Weaver, his physique, I mean, this guy is physically strong, so that could be a factor also against Michael Dokes.
All right now, let's go up to the ring announcer, Chuck Hall, for the introductions of the two fighters.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Caesars Palace Sports Pavilion, where tonight Don King Productions, in association with Caesars Palace, presents World Championship Boxing. These bouts are sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Sid Rogich Chairman, Roy Tennyson Executive Secretary. The commissioners in attendance are Mr. Art Lurie, Mr. Ed Brown, Mr. Sammy Macias, and Mr. Bob Premoyle. The matchmaker is Mickey Davies. The officials assigned for the main event of the evening by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The judges are Jerry Roth, Carol Polis, and Mike Kliena. The timekeeper is Al Bisick, counting at the knockdowns, Jane Broadfoot. The attending physicians at ringside, Dr. Donald Romeo and Dr. Flip Hermansky. The referee is Joey Curtis. This is the main event of the evening. 15 rounds of boxing for the WBA Heavyweight Championship of the World. Introducing in the blue corner, fighting out of Akron, Ohio, weighing in at 216 pounds, he is the #1 ranked contender by both the WBC and the WBA. Introducing Michael Dynamite Dokes.
Take a look at Michael Dokes' record. He has no losses, 14 knockouts, and we'll elaborate on that a little more.
Weighing in at 209 3/4 pounds, he is the WBA Heavyweight Champion of the World. Here is Mike Weaver. 15 rounds of boxing.
There is the record of Mike Weaver, 9 losses, not indicative of his most recent performances, 16 knockouts, and a body that many people say his hair has muscles.
He has muscles in places where other people don't have places.
Larry, I do want to ask you, even though it is perhaps the rhetorical, Michael Dokes' nickname Dynamite, is he in fact dynamite? Can the man punch?
Well, among big men, if you catch a man coming in and you're 215 pounds, obviously you can knock him out, but he's not noted as a puncher.
Well, let's take a look at how these two match up. Weaver, of course, 6 years the senior of Michael Dokes. Dokes has a couple inches on Weaver. It's hard to imagine with a body like Mike Weaver has that Dokes is actually the bigger man, and yet there he is, the bigger of the two fighters. Dokes has grown a great deal just over the last couple of years. He is not want for confidence, that to be sure.
In a sense, he's like Muhammad Ali in that he's a boxer and that he's been in the ring since he's a youngster. Whereas Weaver has come very late to boxing.
And the pace starts very quickly, and that is what we expected. I know it's what you expected, Ray. Good shot by Weaver.
I was not surprised at all, Brad, because I figured Dokes would come out fast because Weaver here is cold. No preparation.
And there goes Weaver down from the left hand by Dokes in the very first round. And he is hurt. There's no question about it, he's hurt.
Well, he came out once again dry. There was no perspiration between. He didn't a warm-up in the back.
Dokes is right on, and Weaver covers up. This is the first round. Dokes handles it with both hands. And Weaver's holding on to the ropes in deep trouble. Plenty of time left. Dokes is just measuring his man. I think, Ray.
Well, Weaver still has senses. I mean, he still was up. He was hit by a lot of good shots.
It took 1 minute and 3 seconds.
Something seems to be wrong with Michael Dokes.
Dokes jumped up and down, fell on the canvas, and now everybody is surrounding the winner, who is down. A bizarre first round, a bizarre fight for the WBA version of the heavyweight championship. Dokes is still down. Now, whether it's out of just the emotion of having won or whether he hurt himself when he fell down, I don't know.
Well, I expect an 8 count at least for them to give Weaver another chance.
Well, there's no question but that Weaver was hurt, but there's a very serious question as to whether or not this fight should have been stopped. Michael Dokes is up and continues to dance, so he apparently is all right. And there you see a very happy winner. I think the only way to describe it is bizarre. We've seen some strange things. And now the fight goes on in the ring. And there is an absolute brawl in the ring here. It is Weaver's camp and Dokes' camp. And there's utter chaos in the ring. And the crowd is saying it all. Larry Holmes, you saw it just like Ray and I. What did you see?
I don't think they should have got the fight the way they did. Michael Dokes did what I thought he would do, jump on right up. And he did that. But I think the referee actually is a good quick there. Because Michael has been a champion and he hasn't been hurt.
Well, it was a very strange ending, and we will get an opportunity to see this. The crowd not liking it all. I have to be honest, I don't blame them.
Well, I have to reevaluate on Larry Holmes here. I mean, Weaver's been in some heavy brawls. He's been hit, he's been hurt, and he always has a tendency to come back. This fight will stop, I felt, soon, too soon.
I don't think there's any question about that. And particularly, if he was going to stop the fight should have been stopped before he actually stopped it. That was when he was hurt. I didn't really think he was too hurt when the fight was stopped.
Well, but he did. Weaver got up, and he still was somewhat dazed, but still, he was okay. He still had his composure.
We're going to have an opportunity to look at this one more time. There's no question that he took some very good shots.
Well, Dokes hopped right on Weaver because Weaver, again, as I stated earlier, he went into the ring very cold, no perspiration. In fact, I would almost guarantee you to warm up in the back.
It was an outstanding left hand. There's no questioning the punch, and there's no questioning the fact that Michael Dokes just came out and took the fight right to him. And in the ring, there continues to be chaos. Dokes and Weaver talking with one another. Weaver does not appear to be too upset about the whole thing, actually.
Well, I guess the main thing we can do is to have Larry Merchant talk with the referee, Joey Curtis.
I think we're going to have to do that. It took 1 minute and 3 seconds for this one to be history. There is a conversation. Here's the way it all stopped, Ray.
Well, here we have an opportunity to see what exactly took place. Without question, Michael Dokes dominating this round. And Weaver's in a little bit of trouble here. But he's coming up, as you can see. He's protecting himself. He's aware of what's going on. Michael Dokes here measuring Mike Weaver and landed some pretty good shots. And Joey Curtis looking on. Then all of a sudden, what happens? He stops the fight.
Well, I think I absolutely agree with what you said and what Larry Holmes said also. The man was hurt, there's no question about it, but this is the first round of a 15-round championship fight. Both men, at least in theory, are in superb condition. I can understand stopping the fight if it were late in the fight where a man might be tired, but in this case, I really would have to think it was very much of an overreaction, and perhaps an overreaction to some of the things that have been going on in boxing. Right now, let's go up to Larry Merchant, who's with Joey Curtis. We will try to get an explanation. Larry?
Thank you, Barry. Barry, I'm here with Mr. Curtis, the official, the referee who stopped the fight. Why did you stop the fight?
I stopped the fight because he was taking several punches to the head and to the body. When I stopped him there after the knockdown, I asked him if he was all right. He didn't answer me correctly, but I still let the fight go a little bit more. He continually still take punches to the head and to the body. I figured that he had enough, and I stopped the fight.
You have a reputation of allowing fights to go on. Has the recent furor over the death of the Korean fighter right here in Caesar's Palace had any influence on you stopping this fight?
Make my decision at all. Like I said before, he was taking several punches to the head and several punches to body. When I gave him the count, I didn't like the way he answered me, and that's why I let him go a little further, and that's why I stopped him the second time.
To an eye of a ringsider, even though he wasn't returning any fire, he still seemed to have his faculties.
Not to me when I gave him the count. He didn't look like he had the count after the 8 count.
Thank you very much, and back to ringside.
Okay, so there you have an explanation from Joey Curtis. Now, I don't know. Let me ask both of you. First of all, Larry Holmes, do you buy that explanation?
I don't like the way the outcome came. I think Michael Douglas won the fight, but I felt that the referee acted a little bit Mike Weaver is a champion. Therefore, I think he should have been allowed the opportunity to defend himself. He didn't look hurt to me at all. And I just think the referee should go to school and learn something about boxing if he's going to continue to be a boxing referee.
No punches pulled there. Let me ask you, Ray, honest opinion.
Well, but I had a chance to voice my opinion. I'm on the outside spectating as a commentator, and I respect Joey Curtis' decision. I mean, he's in the ring. If he said something to Mike Weaver and there was no response, I guess quite naturally he had a reason to, but I mean, I think there will always be some type of controversy involved in this fight.
I would have liked to know exactly what Mike Weaver did say to Joey Curtis. Now, he said he didn't get the proper response. I take it the proper response is, no, I'm not hurt.
Well, again, I mean, when a ref has a tendency to stop a fight or give a guy an 8 count, what he wants the guy to do, and Larry Holmes agree with me, put your hands up. And Weaver had his hands up.
Larry Holmes, you were in the same ring with Mike Weaver. Mike Weaver knocked you down. I would have to say, just of what I saw, you were more hurt than Mike Weaver was just now, and yet this fight was stopped and yours went on, and of course you're still a champion.
Well, that's the difference. These guys now, since the death of Busu Kim, I think they're overreacting. They're changing the rules into a 12-round boxing heavyweight championship, minute-and-a-half rest period. I think this is ridiculous. I think boxing is going out the world boxing, and I just got to say I'm kind of glad that I'm getting out of this game.
I think, Ray, the same thing could be said of you. Your fight with Tommy Hearns. Hearns really stung you. That was the kind of situation. He could have stepped in and said, that's it, no more.
Oh, yes, and in fact, Barry, everyone's opinionated. Now, I think, again, we should get a chance to talk with Mike Weaver.
We're going to try to get an explanation here, a further explanation from Chuck Hall. Interesting point here. The official time is 1:03, and Chuck Hall, who is the ring announcer, and he might have overheard through this microphone, that they have decided, the commission has decided not to announce the winner as Michael Dokes because they are afraid, because the hostility that's going on all around here and the consternation of the crowd here at Caesar's Palace, that it would incite a riot.
I would agree, because the feeling sound, the electricity here is negative all the way, and it would be the wrong thing for them to announce a decision.
Okay, let's go up now to Larry Merchant, who is with the winner, Michael Dokes, and this is not to take anything away from Michael Dokes. Larry, you got it.
He didn't come in complaining.
All right, Michael, first tell us, why did you come out punching the way you did?
Well, first of all, I'd like to give thanks to the Creator for giving me my opportunity. Mr. Don King, Henrietta, my mother, moms in Florida, and all the people in Akron and Fort Lauderdale that gave me so much support and so much cosmic energy tonight. The reason why I jumped out on him so early in the fight, because he looked like it was cold. He wasn't sweltering at all. He's a very slow starter, and I wanted to instill the fear of God in him from bell one.
If the fight had gone on for a distance, you feel that he would have been afraid to chase you too hard?
I think he would have been intimidated. After the first left hook, he said he didn't even see it. He told me that himself. And all the viewers that don't believe that it was a true knockout, he told me himself. And I caught him first, and he just didn't see it, and he couldn't recuperate.
Although he still seemed to have his faculties. He still seemed to have his faculties when the fight was stopped. Were you surprised in a heavyweight championship fight that it was stopped at that time?
If you notice, when he came over to me, they was carrying him. He was still stumbling. He wasn't coherent. I don't think he had his full recuperative powers at that point. So, it's not up to me. It was up to the referee. He stopped it. I did. I was willing to keep on punching as long as he was willing to sustain.
When a fight ends that quickly, do you feel that somehow it takes something away from it, that people are going to say he's not a good fighter, or in fact that he wasn't the favorite of the promoter?
Well, I'm not going to get into this trend. wait a minute, I'm not going to get into this trend that so many of the critics and the television people have pulled fighters into, the Muhammad Ali's. You don't feel that you've been approved yet by the public. You're incompetent. You're not a formidable foe. To me, it's up to the referee. It didn't take nothing for me. I get paid the same for 30 seconds as I do for 30 rounds. So, you know, I still feel that I'm competent to deal with anybody, and it is not incumbent for me to go the distance.
You fell to the floor in almost disbelief and joy when it was all over.
Let me correct you. It wasn't disbelief. It was jubilation and total sure elatement for all the trials and traumas and tribulations that I've, you know, endured for the last 12 years of my career.
What do you see as your future now? Do you want to fight Larry Holmes regardless of what he does?
What I see for the future is relaxation. I've been in this for 5 or 6 months. Nothing but enjoying myself, getting back with my family, my loved ones at heart, going back to my home, enjoying some of the other fine things in life other than boxing. I'm going to leave that up to my promoter, Mr. King, my manager, Carl King, my trainer, and all other people that's totally involved.
Thank you very much, Michael. And now back to ringside.
Okay, thank you. Larry Merchant and the winner, Michael Dokes. Larry will now try to make his way over to talk with Mike Weaver, and we, in the meantime, I don't want to take anything away from Michael Dokes about all this. I mean, there's no question he was the aggressor, and just based on the minute and 3 seconds that we saw, he was in complete control and probably would have won the fight. So this by no means, I don't think, takes away from his victory. It's just the way it really all came about.
Well, you can't take it away from Michael Dokes. I mean, he did what he intended to do, and that was to take the title away from Mike Weaver. As I stated earlier, the fact that Weaver, he came in with no perspiration whatsoever. He started out cold. Dokes did the right thing, jumped right on top of him, and started to dominate. So, I mean, you have to respect and appreciate Dokes' performance, yet it's unfortunate of the bizarre ending.
Okay, right now, Larry Merchant is with Mike Weaver. Let's go to Larry Merchant. He is with Mike Weaver right now. Larry, he is not with him yet. We'll talk here for just a moment while we get the facility squared away here, and we will be talking to Mike Weaver in just one moment. The fact is, and I do want to get in with you, Larry Holmes, to talk a little bit about what the future of this division is right now while we wait to talk with Mike Weaver. Let's go now to Larry Merchant, and we'll come back and talk about what's going on in the heavyweight division. Larry, you've got it.
Okay, now with the former heavyweight champion, Mike Weaver, what happened?
Well, you know, Dokes knew I was a slow starter, and I expect him to come out fast like he did. And he knew I was slow started. He hit me with a punch, knocked me down. I wasn't hurt. I mean, I don't know why the referee stopped the fight. I mean, I don't know why.
Do you think that all of the furor recently because of the death of the fighter here somehow affected the referee's decision?
I think so. I mean, because I saw the referee many fights before this particular referee. He never stopped the fight before. And Michael Dokes knocked me down. He came with a good left hook. Not that I was hurt. I wasn't hurt. It just called me cold. And
why weren't you throwing punches at the end? Why were you just with your back to the ropes?
Well, you know, I'm a slow starter. I had to face that. I'm a slow starter. They knew, the Dokes knew that.
Was you felt the fight could go on, that you had control of your faculties?
I was not hurt. I knew I was not hurt. I mean, God knew I wasn't hurt, but I mean, it's a championship fight. I'm the champion of the world. I mean, I feel that they shouldn't stop the fight. I mean, but you know, like.
Do you feel? Many of your supporters feel that because Don King is the backer of Michael Dokes, that's why this happened. Do you have those kind of bitter feelings?
I had to tell you the truth. I do feel that's the reason, because they were. I know that everybody was against me. I feel that the WBA was against me also. I know Don King has made friends with the WBA. They was all against me. My back against the rope and Dokes was throwing punches. Like I said, he hit me with a good left hook. He knocked me down. I was not hurt. I mean,
you seem very, very hurt now.
Yeah, I'm very hurt now. There's nothing I can do about it. I mean, a loss is a loss. I lost the title. All I have to do now is hope that I have another chance to come back.
Let's take a look at what happened here if we can, because you did land a couple of punches in there yourself.
Right,
There's the left hook that got you down.
Yes, he caught me with a good left hook. I don't know if I get a point.
There it is again, the same thing.
It was a good left hook that knocked me down, but I got up immediately, and all I tried to do was, just let Dokes punch himself out. I mean, there's nothing I could do about it.
Michael, thank you very, very much. And as you may hear, the fans in the background agree with Michael Dokes. Back to ringside.
Okay, thank you very much, Larry Merchant. One question before we wrap up this fight to Larry Holmes. What now is the future of the heavyweight division? Are you going to go after, or I should say, Michael Dokes? Is he going to come to you? What's Weaver's future? What is going on in the division exactly? You talk about not fighting anymore. When really will you stop fighting?
Well, Larry, I don't really know exactly when I'm going to stop fighting, but I tell you this, if I do continue to fight, Michael Dokes do not want to bother Larry Holmes right now. I think when Larry Holmes retired from boxing, the heavyweight division, the championship will jump from one contender to the next contender. There will be no control over the heavyweight division because nobody really knows who's going to be champion for a long time.
If Don King came to you and said, I want you to fight Michael Dokes, what would you do?
Well, that's something that I will have to think about. Michael Dokes is a fighter. He is a contender as far as I'm concerned, and I fight all contenders. But right now, my plans are something different. Don King don't predict or control my life. I do what I got to do to earn a living, to make a living. And whatever I feel like doing at that time, I do. But as far as fighting Michael Dokes right now, I think it will be a conflict of interest. As far as the public concerned, Michael Dokes beat me, then it's a fix. If I beat Michael Dokes while he's young, he still got to come back. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm just worried about keeping my faculties in the back and keep doing what I got to do to survive. In boxing, I don't have to do that anymore.
I don't think there's any question about one final thing, and that is that Larry Holmes right now is the king of the heavyweight division.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Ray, I don't think there's any question about that, do you?
Oh, no, without problem. Boxing now is Larry Holmes.
All right, so I wish we could say that this was a great fight. It was not a great fight. Mike Weaver is a man who is being right now carried around the ring and holding his fist in the air triumphantly. However, he is not the champion anymore. Michael Dokes is. Whether that was just or not remains to be seen. It'll be speculated about. We'll find out where Michael Dokes goes from here, who he beats, what his punch is all about, what kind of a champion he is. Right now, I would have to say here at Caesar's Palace, it is the fight that is unpopular rather than Michael Dokes himself. Well, speaking of exciting fights, we saw a couple last week. We've talked about that. You already saw one of them. That was the fight, of course, between Wilfred